What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. And today we're down here somewhere in California riding with Honda, and it's gotten me thinking a little bit about how the motorcycle industry has some issues. And we're going to talk a little bit about something that made me very angry, because Jess right here was telling me about how Harley-Davidson is now charging $500 for Vivid Black, which is completely outrageous.
I agree.
And we're gonna have to figure out whether or not the motorcycle industry has issues, which I think it does, but are we going to be able to come out on the other side with some fun toys to still enjoy? Because everybody's always worried that if the motorcycle industry changes, they're gonna lose their big brother mobiles. Let's hit the road and talk about it.
I don't remember the topic we decided to talk about.
Is the motorcycle industry dying? And it's all sparked by the comment that you made yesterday. So.
I hope you don't like black bikes.
Alrighty, folks, we are officially out on the road. I got Jess over my right shoulder here, and she's actually the one who sparked this whole thought of me thinking the motorcycle industry is dying or has some serious issues, because we were talking on our way into Malibu yesterday, and you had mentioned that Harley-Davidson is now charging $500 for Vivid Black.
At least on their new touring bikes. I cannot confirm that's all motorcycles, but on the 2024 touring models, it is an additional upcharge if you want a Vivid Black motorcycle.
See, Petridge Farm remembers back in the day when Vivid Black was the base model, and you had to pay $1,000 for white or performance orange, but okay, fine. But Vivid Black is the Harley color, and it drives me nuts that they're essentially taking that away from you, and they're going to the gunship gray, which, let's be real, gunship gray is primer gray, and primer is the thing you put down before you put down paint. So that's getting me thinking that if they're charging you an extra $500 for paint, they're trying to make up for losses elsewhere in the portfolio. And if Harley-Davidson is struggling, that means that a lot of other people are struggling too, because they're kind of a bellwether in the industry. Regardless of what my audience may think, Harley-Davidson is a massive brand, and they are, if they are struggling, everybody else is struggling too. And I've actually seen it a little bit where some manufacturers are purging models from their lineup. You have KTM working on moving a lot of production for their LC8C platform, the parallel twins, to China to save some cost. So is there a greater issue in the motorcycling industry? And personally, I think we are seeing a contraction where less people are getting on bikes. I don't know, what do you think?
So I personally agree with that, and I think it is, in America and the United States, motorcycling is a luxury. You don't buy a motorcycle because you don't have other means to get around. Motorcycles are expensive for the most part here in the States. They are big and heavy because of our grand American touring culture. And right now, people, like, honestly, I'm just trying to afford cheese, man. I can't afford, like, most people can't afford a $30,000 motorcycle that they're only going to put 5,000 miles on in the life of its existence. So I think it's people are really, like, the manufacturers are feeling the sting of just the economy in general, and being a luxury brand item is just no longer available to the average person.
Yeah, I mean, think about the fact that Harley-Davidson is now offering a 12-year loan. That's nuts. Any longer, and it's a freaking mortgage, man. Yeah. You're mortgaging your motorcycle. And I know it sounds like we're beating up on Harley here, and I actually have enormous respect for Harley-Davidson as a brand.
I own 3 of them. I love Harleys.
They're just easy for us to point to because
they're popular.
They're popular, yeah, but it's everywhere. You see KTM is now charging $13,000 for their Enduro R, which is outrageous for that motorcycle. That is way too much money. And it's all throughout the Japanese segments too. You see year over year, motorcycles are getting more and more expensive. And I think that the new rider who looks and sees all of these new awesome models come out, they're like, awesome, but I can't afford it. I'm just going to go on Craigslist and get myself a $2,000 beater that has more power, less technology, and is going to get me from A to B without getting me bankrupt, you know?
Right.
It's weird because the industries, they're bringing out some amazing technological improvements lately. Like, you've got adaptive cruise control is now coming to a lot of motorcycles. And that's a seriously kick-ass piece of technology.
Yeah, I can attest. I have it on my R18B, and when you're doing more Grand American touring like I enjoy doing, it is easy to hop on those interstates, set cruise, and you're just going. And people might call that lazy, people might call that unsafe. It's a give and take. Sometimes it's really nice, sometimes I hate it, and I wish I could turn it off, honestly. If you're riding with a group of motorcyclists, cruise control cannot see the motorcyclist in front of you. So you'll just be hauling up on the ass of your buddy in front of you, and so you have to start doing manual shifting again. And I think it's needed. I think new technology is needed because, once again, vehicles are not paying attention. They're not seeing you. So these safety measures are put in place to try to help protect riders, but a lot of people still just I want my manual, I want no ABS, no traction control, just give me the damn bike and I'm gonna ride it. And I'm like, that's fine, that's your prerogative, but that's not the future of motorcycling.
But as much doom and gloom as we may be throwing out here, I would like to offer a life ring in the fact that this is probably the best time for somebody to get started on a beginner bike, because the beginner bike marketplace is filled to the brim with awesome options. You've got the Ninja 500, which is a little bit closer to $6,000. Used to be $5,500. CF Moto has some amazing options south of $5,500, and everybody's got some beginner offering. You just don't see guys getting started on the MT-07 anymore because it's close to $8,000, and all they did was put a TFT dash on it.
Well, I mean, we're here with Honda right now, and we literally just had a conversation with Honda executives, and the MiniMoto market is dominating here in the States. Like, you know, the Groms, the Monkeys, the little CFs and stuff, like that is what a lot of people are buying. A, because it's affordable. B, it's lightweight and fun and excellent on gas mileage. And you don't need these big, you know, $20,000, $30,000 motorcycles to actually get out there and ride. So many people are switching over to less is more.
Yeah, and you also see a little bit of a change in the way people are living nowadays. You see a lot of apartment complexes. And if you're living in an apartment complex, I can tell you from personal experience, your motorcycle ain't safe there. You may have a locking garage, quote unquote, but unless your vehicle is the only thing in there, somebody can still get at it. And I had my KTM, my old KTM, in the shop for 9 months waiting on a new frame. I got it back 2 weeks later. Somebody pulled the motor mounts trying to steal it again. So theft is through the roof. And if you've got either a little bike or perhaps an electric bike, say the Sur-Ron, the Solar, something that you could park inside your apartment and poodle around on downtown, A, you're not paying for gas, B, you're not worrying about theft, that's a win-win. So the marketplace is, I totally see it shifting from big, badass flagship bikes to smaller, more affordable packages that people could throw in the back of their Tesla or their van or whatever, you know?
Cybertruck.
Yeah, that we've seen a handful of those around here, but I live right by where the Giga plant is in Austin that's pumping them out, and there are just fields of Cybertrucks rusting away in Texas right now. So if you want a pre-rusted Cybertruck, they're on their way.
No thanks.
Yeah, no, hard pass. But let's start rounding out our thoughts here. Do you think that the industry at large is going to stay the same and just try to milk every last dollar, or do you think that some of the more erudite manufacturers, to break out a 5-point word there, are going to look at the change and they're going to try to get out ahead of it and start offering either smaller options, more electric options? Or do you think they're just going to ride the wave while they can and get out while the getting's good?
I think how do I word this right? I don't think the air-cooled motors are going to go anywhere anytime soon. The large motors, I think this is at least in the States, this is a pretty large country where we really need the power to get around. But manufacturers they're not selling motorcycles to young people anymore. I think, I'm a millennial and I don't see a lot of people younger than me that are actually purchasing motorcycles, let alone purchasing vehicles. And I think a lot of companies are like, we have to change. We have to make this easier and a bit safer for people to get into, especially with social media, just technology everywhere. Nobody's paying attention at all. So if manufacturers can do something like the e-bikes or electric motorcycles or the DCT automatic machines, I think those are a way better incentive to start getting younger people riding. And like the older people, I mean, I personally know so many of like not only my audience but people in real life who they're giving it up. They have to get rid of their bike. They've had surgeries, they can't ride, they can't keep the balance, they can't afford the new trikes and stuff like that. So I do think the industry is about to change heavily, especially with emissions laws and stuff. So I can't say for a fact where it's going to go, but I definitely think it's going to start shifting over the next decade to 20 years.
Does that potential shift excite you? Do you see it as an opportunity, or do you see it as we're giving stuff up? We're having to let go? I
think it's going to narrow our options. I don't think things are actually going to go away. I think it's just going to be like, if you do want, like right now, if you want an old muscle car, they still exist. You're just going to have to pay an arm and a leg to get them literally up to speed and up to safety, like power and stuff like that. Like you can go out and buy like an old Chevelle just fine, but it's not where the future has gone. Like we've seen it in the automotive industry. Electric automotive vehicles are literally everywhere now. Every manufacturer has either a hybrid or an electric vehicle, and motorcycling is the same. It's a mode of transportation. Even though it's a luxury, it still has a motor in it, and it's a means to get from point A to point B. So they're going to have to change as well. I also see it as a really cool opportunity for new stuff. I think that Kawasaki's hybrid Ninja is so awesome, and once we start getting a performance hybrid motorcycle that absolutely dusts up on the current crop of leader bikes, which we may not see it for a few years, but I guarantee you they're going to try. There's no way they're not. There's going to be some really cool new stuff. So maybe we don't have the screaming top-end rush of an inline 4 anymore, or maybe we don't have the giant throaty rumble of 122 cc or 122 cubic inches of freedom between your legs, but you're going to have something new that's equally as cool. It'll be different, but it'll still be cool, and that actually has me kind of excited. I mean, like, I personally, if you've ever ridden just a live wire, you can't tell me that you rode that motorcycle and didn't feel like absolute thrill the very first time you twisted the throttle and it just launched. Yeah, it's so much fun. It handles beautifully with a ton of torque, and there's going to be something for everybody in the future. It's going to be different, but it's going to be cool. And on that note, I think we're going to start wrapping this one up. Jess needs to go get herself a iced coffee, black, cold bean water on a cold morning. So let's go find a coffee shop. And if you guys are not aware, Jess has her own YouTube channel. I'm sure I've linked it down below and put it up on the screen, but I'll say it again here. Go check it out. Link is down in the description below. All sorts of awesome slice of life stuff. A lot of touring. Jess does more miles than I do. So if you like seeing a bunch of touring stuff, moto camping, Jess is where it's at. Link down in the description below. And a huge shout out for coming and hanging out and talking about
weird esoteric motorcycle stuff. I appreciate it.
I mean, this is the second time we've had technically a day off and we chose to be idiots and go ride again.
All right, guys. I will catch you in the next one. See you later.